So motorsport is reeling again, and this time it's a driver who I believe was highly underrated. Could well have gone on to do big things in Formula 1, but instead plied his trade after 1 year in Formula 1 in the United States. Tragically killed yesterday in an accident that was all too similar to what happened to Felipe Massa in 2009, albeit different outcome. I refer here to Justin Wilson. Rest in peace, Justin. This situation feels very different to when Jules Bianchi passed away. For one thing, it was only 1 day after Justin's accident that he succumbed to his injuries, unfortunately. But also, he was not in Formula 1 at the time. Some would argue he was doing something more dangerous than Formula 1, being on an oval in Indycar racing. The fact that his injury was caused by the nose cone of the lead car in the Pocono race that bounced in his direction was just one of the most random things I've ever seen. I mean, what are the odds of a nose cone hitting a driver on the head? It's a similar thing with Felipe Massa. Following Rubens Barrichello several car lengths behind, Rubens' spring came off his car and hit Massa just above his right eye. It's a miracle that it didn't kill Felipe instantly. Yeah, thank God Felipe pulled through. Unfortunately, Justin was not so lucky. World Motorsport has done a fantastic job over the years in trying to reduce the risks of fatal accidents, and this accident that's befallen Justin Wilson will be no exception, I'm sure. There's bound to be discussion about introducing closed cockpits. Some have argued that a closed cockpit would have saved Jules Bianchi's life, for example. I, however, am not so jump to conclusions sort of attitude, because if they do adopt closed cockpits in Formula 1 and IndyCar or whatever open cockpit formula there is in motorsport, then they end up creating other problems rather than solving the existing problems. What happens, for instance, in the event of fire? How is the driver supposed to get out quick? Also, what happens in the event of dust going onto the screen? How are they supposed to clear it? They wouldn't have a windscreen wiper, that's for sure. And what about in the event of wet weather? The heat from the cockpit would steam it up from the inside. It would be worse than having a situation where the visor steams up on the driver's helmet. You know, these things will not be solved very quickly. They take a great deal of thought. But as for eliminating a repeat of Justin Wilson's accident, I think if they design it so that the nose of the car is attached to the monocoque and have it so that the aerofoil itself can be detached, that's one way of eliminating it. Let me just clarify what I mean by that. At the moment, in IndyCar and Formula 1 for that matter, as far as I know other open wheel formula, you have the nose cone here. Just imagine, for instance, that my fingers are a crude representation of the nose cone, and this finger here is the wing on the nose, or the aerofoil if you will. At the moment, the nose and the wing are one assembly together, but in the event of alleviating Justin Wilson's accident in future, if the nose was one piece with the monocoque, hence the name one piece, then the aerofoil would be supported from the very underside of the nose. So that way it would be a detachable component and still be a relatively safer than they are at the moment. I mean, unfortunately, we saw the outcome of Justin's accident. But anyway, my thinking behind this is the smaller, the fewer components there are to break off, the smaller the pieces when accidents occur. And also it will double up in the fact that the nose, as part of the front crash structure, will be embedded like that. Of course it would mean that a car would retire from the race there and then, because they would need a whole new chassis, but that is safer, in my opinion, than what it is at the moment, where the nose can just detach and go God knows where. But anyway, that's my opinion. If you agree or disagree with me, feel free to leave comments down below.